Hello, everyone. Coming up here on the Pro Wrestling Show, we talk about the latest, what's going on, recapping you from SmackDown from tonight. As you see right here, the Bloodline introduces a new member. Sora Sokoa joins the Bloodline, and he made an indefinite impact on the Clash of the Castle by costing Drew McIntyre the Universal Championship, the Undisputed Championship, and helping his cousin Roman Reigns retain the championship. But he got bigger problems ahead of him after he cost Drew, and Drew wants a match with him down the road. If he get the match, we'll see later on. Also, too, a fatal five-way elimination match to determine who's next in line to challenge SmackDown Women's Champion Liv Morgan, who's living it up for an opportunity to go for the women's championship and meet Liv Morgan at Scream Rules. We'll talk about that. Who advances between these five lovely ladies? Who's going to battle for the championship? But SmackDown kicks off with Imperium. Imperium Gunther, the Intercontinental Champion, had the impressive match that everyone was talking about, raving about his match against Sheamus. It got 5 stars. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it coming up as well on Hot Topics. The whereabouts of Sasha Banks and Naomi have finally been revealed. They was at New York Fashion Week. When are they going to be slated to return to WWE? We'll talk about it coming up as the Pro Wrestling Show starts right now. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this edition of the Pro Wrestling Show. I'm your host, as always, Kendra Dix here. Glad you can join us in the Pro Wrestling Show as we recap and review what happened on SmackDown tonight. Thank you all for watching this edition of the Pro Wrestling Show. Like I said, join in the conversation using the hashtag Pro Wrestling here on Connect TV. And don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe is caring. Tell a friend, call a friend, hit that subscribe button so you won't miss a thing here on the Pro Wrestling Show. Thank you all for watching on our Facebook, YouTube channels, and all our channels across our social media. Like I said, we're going to talk about the SmackDown. All right. As you see right, these 5 women. We'll talk about the fatal 5-way match for the SmackDown Women's. Who's going to be the number 1 contender for the SmackDown Women's Championship? We'll get to it in a minute. All right. As you see right here, Drew McIntyre was on the verge of becoming the undisputed champion when Sora Sokoa came out of nowhere and cost Drew the match. Drew now wants revenge and wants retribution after what Sora Sokoa did to him. He gets that match coming up later tonight. Drew McIntyre versus Sora Sokoa. But we get to stuff we talk about on right now. We start with this. The Imperium. Imperium, like I said about Imperium, they are the ones that are carrying, they're going to be in the future of WWE. Imperium Gunther, teaming up with his group that he should have been reunited when he first came to the main roster. Imperium came from NXT UK, and they moved to NXT. A dominant force, a skillful trio. They went against the Brawling Brutes. Like I said, this match was that physical, dominating at the end, but Imperium won their match. Imperium sending the message with Gunther that they're nothing to be played with and nothing to be a force to be reckoned with in the division. Now Imperium won their match. It was just they opened the show and they won. Imperium with that European British style match, and they did so. But I can tell you this: Sheamus and Gunther had a knockdown, drag out fight between them. Sheamus and Gunther let it all in the ring, and you see these 5 stars. Dave Mesler rated this match 5 stars out throughout the whole Clash of the Castle match for the Intercontinental Championship, bringing back the prestige and honor of the Intercontinental title. Gunther and Sheamus led a match, and what a match it was. Gunther emerged victorious at the event Clash of the Castle last week with the Intercontinental Championship. I think it's far from over from these two men. They're going to keep on bringing Smash Mouth style wrestling. I tell you that Smash Mouth style wrestling is going to be in effect. I tell you that right now. So look for that coming up. Also, too, the women's tag team champions Raquel Gonzalez and Aaliyah had a non-title match against Toxic Attraction. Toxic Attraction making their second debut on SmackDown. I don't know if they're main roster or what. Once Mandy Rose dropped her championship, she'll be with them along with him. So Toxic Attraction showcasing their skill, their style. Toxic Attraction lost the match. Good showing for Raquel and Leah, who will defend the tag team championships against Damage Control's Io Sky and Dakota Kai this Monday on Raw. So we'll look forward to seeing that match between them. So look forward to seeing that coming up as well. Also, too, what else happened? The Usos invited Sora Sokoa. Sora Sokoa now part of the bloodline, helping his cousin Roman Reigns retain the undisputed Universal Championship. Sora Sokoa, along with Sami Zayn, who still trying to be a follower, now a leader. Sami Zayn still don't know the Usos is using him to get over, trying to help Roman stay champion, or Sami just want to tag along. But you can tell down the road, Sami gonna get that Batista effect. Remember when Batista was part of Evolution and Triple H and Ric Flair was just talking about him behind his back? That's what's gonna happen with Sami. Just don't know yet. But Sami Zayn being the official lapdog of the Usos and stuff with Sora and Sora Sokoa. As you see right here, Sami Zayn right here is teaming with Sora, trying to Sora Sokoa, sending his message that he's part of the family, and you can see right here Sami saying that he'll do what he got to do to help Sora. He'll take the chair shot for Sora to let Sora do what he need to do. We know that Sora will be in action. He'll take on Sami. He'll take on Drew McIntyre right here in the match, in the main event. That's later tonight. Drew can get his revenge then if Drew wants to get his hands on Sora Sokoa so bad. He got opportunity to do so, and that would have been like for him. Speaking of that, Corey Graves now filling in for Pat McAfee, as we told you earlier this week on Pro Wrestling Show. Watch through our archives this week. Corey Graves filling in for Pat McAfee, who's now going to be on ESPN College Game Day starting tomorrow against Alabama and Texas. There's going to be a good game tomorrow in the morning. So we'll see that. You know, if you're a football fan, see Alabama and Texas. I'm from the state of Alabama. I live in the state of Alabama, so I know Alabama football is that. But we'll get back to the business at hand right here. Ronda Rousey, who just got from suspension, now get put into a fatal 5-way elimination match against Lacey Evans, against Natalya, against Sonya Deville, against Xia Li. Which one of these 5 women will want to get a shot at the women's championship and meet Liv Morgan for her title at Extreme Rules? I mean, it was simple as you think. Liv Morgan out in the skybox watching from a bird's eye view on who's going to wait to challenge her for her women's championship. Everyone know it wasn't no question about it. It wasn't no question about it. Ronda Rousey went through 5 women. She went through Lacey Evans, Natalya, and it was at the end. She had Sonya Deville. Sonya Deville had a number for a minute, but Sonya Deville got tapped out from the ankle lock. Ronda Rousey now earns a championship match against Liv. Ronda and Liv will meet at Extreme Rules for the SmackDown Women's Championship. I want to show you the preview of it right here. This will be for the SmackDown Women's title. Ronda Rousey and Liv Morgan fight again after Ronda unceremoniously got distracted during her match at Money in the Bank when Liv won and beat Ronda for the title. Now Ronda can get the revenge. She wanted to get her hands on Liv. Ronda got her hands cut out. Maybe it'll be for a Scream Rules match. We don't know. But I can tell you this: Ronda Rousey better have basic tricks up her sleeve because Liv likes to cheat, and that's what Liv likes to do: cheat, win. So Ronda Rousey and Liv Morgan will meet for the SmackDown Women's Championship, and I know Liv Morgan was awaiting to see how Ronda Rousey and her on the clash at Scream Rules. We'll see that. Speaking of that, Ronda's friend Shayna Baszler, who went against Liv at Clash at the Castle, Liv cheated to win over Shayna. Shayna gave Ronda some sound advice, and her and Ronda was kind of going back and forth. But Ronda wasn't studying Shayna. Ronda telling Shayna, "You need to keep your head above the swivel." So we'll see if Ronda Rousey can get the job done against Liv Morgan. We'll see that match at Scream Rules as well. We'll see it. Also, too, the monster among men, Braun Strowman, returned, and he returns back. He returned this Monday on Raw and caused a lot of damage and stuff. Braun Strowman returned to get his hands on America Alpha and beat and powerbomb Otis and decimated Chad Gable. I think Braun Strowman is a man on a mission. We just don't know what Braun's mission is. Braun Strowman back. I guess he was trying too much to control his narrative, and he did so by controlling his own narrative by doing what he did. But Braun Strowman returning back to WWE, back in event. Now we just don't know what Braun Strowman is going to do next. And this was, I tell you right now, Braun Strowman is going to. We just don't know what Braun's next move is going to be. But like I said, Braun's going to do something real devastating. We just don't know. We'll be seeing, but you got to wonder if Braun Strowman back in WWE, and then we tell you that later Karrion Kross in WWE. Why not EC3? EC3 need to come back to WWE, but he's in NWA. He likes his freedom and he wants to control his own narrative. So, hey, it's what it is. I would have signed all three of them to ask me and put the control of your narrative program in WWE and go from there. So, you know how that go and sound, but that's how it be. Also, too, you look at the bottom, Hit Row teamed up with the Street Profits to take on the Maximum Male Models and who else? Los Lotharios. This match was just simple and easy. Los Lotharios and hit Maximum Male Models. Maximum Male Models okay. Los Lotharios okay, but Hit Row and the Street Profits, they bring the Street. But at the end, like I said, the Street Profits, you know how that goes. Street Profits making a point impact, but Street Profits will be coming up next week in tag team action. We'll see the Street Profits try to go for tag team goal to be next challengers. They won that match with Hit Row, so I guess to get revenge on the male models and Hit Row and the Los Lotharios for using graffiti and spray painting their car. All right, we get to the nitty gritty. We get to the nitty gritty right here. As you see right here, Drew McIntyre goes against the man who cost him being the undisputed champion. Drew should be the undisputed champion in my eyes, my point of view. Sora cost that dream for Drew. Drew had this moment. He was at the right place, the right time. Just didn't win the big one. He got Lex Luger. But Drew had the moment. It just didn't work out for him. So, like I said, things like that happen for Drew in an instant, but it happens like that. But Drew put on a brave face. Drew went against Sora Sakai. and Sora Sakai debut match on SmackDown. And then he said he didn't need the Usos. The Usos told him he was gonna do it. He had to do it on his own. But it just didn't go out for Sora Sakai. He did battle Drew, but Drew got a tag out of nowhere from this man, Karrion Kross. This should be the championship match, if you ask me. Drew should be defending his title against Karrion Kross, but they're trying to put it as a Scream Rules. So Drew versus Karrion Kross. Drew was trying not tapping out, but he held in, but he just couldn't hold on as much as he can. But we can tell Karrion Kross and Scarlett making a target out of Drew, and Drew kind of like fading from the abyss. So you know how that go, so how that end up being. So how all this turnabouts for their play and stuff. But like I said, this is gonna be a match at Scream Rules. But I think this match between Drew and Sora Sokoa is far from over for right now. And we'll get that down the road. But Drew getting choked out by Karrion sends a message that Karrion targeting Drew and getting his cut. So we'll see that probably down the road anyway. All right. That ends the SmackDown Ring Report. Let's quickly move over to Wrestling Hot Topics. On Wrestling Hot Topics, we got a lot to talk about, and I mean a lot to talk about on Wrestling Hot Topics. So you can tell right here, Sasha Banks and Naomi posing for New York Fashion Week. They're going down the runway, I meant to say, for New York Fashion Week, and they just doing it, going places. So the former women's tag team champions trying to expand, and it was all around New York. So Sasha Banks and Naomi with Titus O'Neil. So Sasha Banks and Naomi, Triple H said on an interview recently with Aaron Hawaii that Sasha Banks and Naomi, he's saying he got to have communication. It was a communication breakdown. But he's trying to work to restore communication with Sasha. That's why I think Titus O'Neil there, since he's the ambassador, and then Bayley's there. You know, it's some connections there. Just don't know what Vince did, but things like that happened. But that was the sights and sounds and stuff that Sasha Banks and Naomi had done. So it was around to tell you right now. So we'll see what's gonna happen with Sasha Banks and Naomi coming up. Also, too, NXT was up 684,000 from last week. Congratulations, NXT. Also, with Dynamite was up 1 million. They're trying to keep that million streak going to surround the controversy with CM Punk and Young Bucks. We talked about it on the previous on the AEW Dynamite Ring Report and the Raw and SmackDown Ring Report. So look back at our archives from this week to see what I had said about that. Also, too, the People's Champion, The Rock, who could be headlining WrestleMania at that stadium in Los Angeles, SoFi Stadium. He was there. He opened the NFL season. The People's Champion, The Rock, with the Los Angeles Rams took on the Buffalo Bills. It was a good barn burner match. I'll tell you that right now. The Rock, the opening of that coming up. So the People's Champion, The Rock, doing that. What else happened? We talked about too. Sheamus, Gunther, right here. Dave Mills awarded Sheamus and Gunther a 5-star rating. So Sheamus and Gunther, congratulations, well deserved the 5-star rating for their match at Screen Rules. Well, at Clash of the Castle, I meant to say. Also, too, AEW with the backstage politics going on. They said that AEW had a talent meeting led by Jericho, Bryan, and Moxley. Jericho saying he's been more diplomatic and send well-rave reviews of what he did to tell the talent, don't take AEW for granted. Daniel Bryan said some comments. Even Moxley said comments. Moxley has been an unsung hero on his back by carrying the company in critical time like he did. even with CM Punk and everybody else doing what they did and stuff. Um, trying to see also trying to see where we leave for this week. Um, speaking of MJF, he wrote this tweet that we want to be part of the bloodline. So MJF thinking he's part of the bloodline. So hey, one pound up to MJF and what that. Also, too, Bobby Fish could be returning back to AEW sooner rather than later. Saying Bobby Fish, was two reasons. It was monetary reasons, and he didn't like CM Punk. So I guess since CM Punk is out of the question right now, since he's doing his surgery, he underwent surgery for his arm. That's with CM Punk. So Bobby Fish could be returning back to finish up with the Bucks. So you could see that going forward. All right. All right. We're gonna end the SmackDown. We're gonna end this week a hot topic with this. Karrion Kross on the SmackDown Ring Report doing devastation to putting this chokehold on Drew McIntyre, leaving Drew, trying to leave him out unconscious and out. All right. So for me being Kendrick Dick saying, I'll have a good weekend and we'll see you next week for the Raw Ring Report this Monday. So for me being Kendrick Dick saying so long and we'll see you later.